You're listening to KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine.
The opinions and views expressed in this program do not reflect those of KUCI, its management, or the UC Board of Regents. To find out more about this talk show or other talk shows broadcasting on KUCI, log on to our website at kuci.org or check out the latest program guide.
This is Ashton Marcus, and I'm on location at Theater 40 for their presentation of Down to My Last Egg. Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm here with
Remy O'Brien. I did a one-woman show, solo that I wrote a few years ago called Down to My Last Egg.
So question, why did you decide to write this piece?
I was sitting at a Barnes & Noble one day, and I just thought about, hey, I have one egg left. Wouldn't that be a great little story? And then I just kind of started writing it in pieces and put it together, and now I have my one little story about my one last egg. I mean, I don't know if it's true we could have one, or we always keep a bunch around, but I'm sure they end up going down to one, right?
If my viewers decide to come by and see this piece, what should they expect to see?
They should expect to see a true story, a heartwarming story, something that's real and honest, and it's full of laughter. There's some tears. It's not all fun, but it's a great show, and it means a lot to me, and it comes all from the heart, and I think men and women alike, will enjoy it because it's not just about motherhood, but it's about dreams and not going after what you want and waking up one day without ever having them and then watching them just die away and never knowing what you could accomplish in life.
Actually, I remember when I was younger and I wasn't married and I was thinking, why aren't I married and all that? Someone once told me something. There's certain things you never ever tell a person. Like, for example, like if a person's blind, at least you're still alive. You at least, or you know what I mean. Or if a woman doesn't have a child, there's just nothing you can say. You can't say, "Oh, being single is such a great thing. You get to do what you want. You get to travel. You get to spend all the money you make." You can't say that because basically it'll never help. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, you can't. I mean, there's some women that don't want to have children, and there's some women that do, and there's some women that try, and they can't afford to do the things I wasn't able to do. Like I said in my show, how much it costs to have a child, and sometimes it doesn't work. And I think for some women, it does leave a void in their heart, and even like losing a child, you just don't know. You can't say anything. You just have to say, I wish the best. I mean, you just really can't say anything. You're right.
Yeah. Basically, all you can do is just be there with what I was told. All you can do is just be there with the person. Maybe go out to dinner, just enjoy the time, just spend time together. That's all you can really do. You know what I mean?
Right. And no one really wants an answer. They just want you to listen and let them say it, because no one wants your really an opinion about it. They just want to say, "I got you. I understand. I'm here."
Well, I loved your piece. It really,
so much.
It really described what you were going through. It actually described everything a lot of women are going through, and actually it made it very clear for everyone.
Thank you so much. I love the show. It means a lot to me, and I just hope more people can come out and see it.
Okay. Well, I really enjoyed it. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm here with
Jonathan Medina. I directed the show that you just saw. It's Down to My Last Egg with Remy O'Brien.
So question, why did you decide to do this piece?
Well, Remy's good friends with my fiance. They actually met in Chicago, and I saw Remy put this piece on at a workshop, I think, a year and a half ago, and it stayed with me. It struck me in a lot of different ways, and having worked on shows similar to this, and having the connection with her that I did, I decided that I would approach her about possibly directing it, and she agreed. We sat down and started working on it for a few months, and for the Fringe this past year, she put it up. We collaborated for about 6 weeks. She put it up and had a successful run.
If my viewers decide to come and see this piece, what should they expect to see?
They should expect to see Remy O'Brien being wonderfully charismatic, vulnerable, honest, telling her story from the heart. They should expect laughter and tears, and I think they should expect leaving with a different perspective.
One thing I got to ask you, well, obviously you're a man, right?
Yes. Last I checked.
Yeah. I mean, do you think there's any problem with you directing a woman doing a piece about being infertile, and you being a man? Do you think a woman would have done it better? What are your thoughts on that?
I think there certainly would have been a different show, probably with a woman at the helm. And who knows where Remy may go in the future. She may work the show with a woman, and I would love to see that too. As she said, there's a lot here for both men and women. I think there's a very real disconnect that we have, especially now in society, with women's rights and with the Me Too movement coming out and women starting to speak up for themselves. I think the show is very apropos. My involvement with it, to be very honest, it was more about clearing away a lot of the boundaries for Remy, both emotionally, mentally, and logistically. Because when she did the workshop, there were a lot of props, and as you saw tonight, it was a very minimalist type of show. And the reason for that was because we get to see more of her and less of the special effects. And I think that was very important. And you really got a chance to see this woman put on her one-woman show because of that. So that was really the biggest part of my involvement with the show.
Yeah. Also, I think what helped a little bit for me is because obviously I'm a man too. I've seen some shows that basically I get a little disconnect. I mean, you can obviously tell this was done by a woman and it's for women. This one was done by a woman. It's not really for women because I got a lot out of it. I really enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, that's great, and I think that's what she wants. We want to cross boundaries. I think with all art, we want to confound expectations. We want people to come in and not really know what's going to be coming down the road, and not know how it's going to affect them either. And my big thing as both an actor and as a director is really the connection, more than anything else, more than direction, more than or set direction rather, and production. Even though those are very important elements to all theater, and obviously we come and it helps put us in that world. For me, there's a lacking of the connection that we so desperately need and come to the theater for. I mean, it's the biggest difference between going to the movies and going to theater. It's a shared experience happening in real time. And that connection, I think, is part of what will help strengthen and blossom the humanity that is waxing and waning in our society nowadays, in which we so desperately need, and hopefully will draw people back to the theater.
Yeah. Well, I really enjoyed your direction because, again, like I said before, I enjoyed this piece. There have been pieces I've seen before. They're just for women. I actually have to comment that if you're a woman, you would love this. I didn't get it, but again, I'd have to comment some. I really enjoyed it. I think you did a great job.
Thank you so much, and thank Remy too, and all the people that come. We would love to have you. So please come and support.
Okay. Thank you once again for being on the show. Down to My Last Egg will be playing at Theater 40 from November 18th to the 26th. For more information, go to www.theater40.org. This is Ashton Marcus, and I'm on location at the Miles Memorial Playhouse for the world premiere of My Date with Death, a musical romance. Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm here with
Daniel Sugimoto. So we did the world premiere of My Date with Death, a musical romance.
And which character did you play?
So I played Link. So my take on Link is he has thought himself out of existing. He has gone up and down in philosophy and had some life experiences that brings him to the brink of thinking and actualizing the reality that his life is not important, that his life is not meaningful. And so even if he is in a very somber state, he still understands the realities behind. If he were to end his life, he thinks nobody would care. Nobody would mind.
You're also the composer and writer of this piece.
Yes, I am. Yes, I've always been fascinated with whether it be the religious outlook on death, the fear of the afterlife, life's purpose, and I think now more than ever it's important to reinstate life's purpose and reinstate humanity and empathy. So I've been writing songs like these for a long time. This seemed like the best time for me in my life to be able to tell this story because it's pretty raw. It's a closer piece.
So if my viewers decide to come by and see this piece, what should they expect to see?
You should expect to be mystified because we take some sci-fi elements, we play around with how technology has integrated itself into human interaction. So we play around a lot with technology being a part of whether or not people feel like they're a part of something or whether or not they feel isolated. So expect to be expect to have your expectations subverted, because the whole My Date with Death elicits, okay, the Grim Reaper comes in, you're going to have sort of some somber, sad, eerie elements, but there's a lot of fun, more modern pop elements to this that kind of makes the pill of this whole show a little easier to swallow.
Yeah, I actually thought this piece was somewhat of a cross between one Jesus Christ Superstar.
Oh, cool.
Because again, it was philosophical in that way. It talked a little bit about religion. Also, the music. It was kind of jazz, kind of rock also. Kind of rock jazz a little bit.
Yeah.
You know Andrew Lloyd Webber?
I love his stuff, yeah. I actually, the Jesus Christ Superstar was an influence for the Shoot Me song. There are some elements, I think, that Judas sings that I really just have always loved. And sort of hearing that on stage and having that be a part of the musical theater field, something you can do on stage in musical theaters, have some rock anthems that are telling a pretty brutal story, sort of makes it easier to integrate a little bit.
I also thought it was a little bit of the Matrix, too. You know how the Matrix thought of it as a program and all that?
Right, exactly.
And it was philosophical and all that. I thought that was a bit of a cross between that also.
Oh, yeah, that's been one of my favorite components of writing and thinking outside the box philosophically, because once you start breaking it down and once you start really thinking about or having fun with the thoughts of simulation and thoughts of the Matrix, I think now, especially with technology, people are a lot more in tune with playing around with those ideas. So I think that it relates to people in a way that they know that elements like that might start to pop up in our everyday lives, where we do feel like we're more programmed into certain things on a daily basis, especially with apps and everything.
No, just to warn you, I'm going to be very tough on you, because, usually if it's a professional show, I'm obviously they did it very well. When I see a show that's very good but needs criticism, I will give it if I think it will really, really help. Yeah. First of all, you got to slow down a little bit. I noticed the meter of your songs, you're carrying that into your vocals, and sometimes the dialogue was very philosophical, very scientific.
Right.
You got to slow it down a little bit for the audience to really appreciate it.
Right. Yeah. I think there are some monologues too that sometimes you get so driving into it, and you're so sort of flowing with it that you forget. Yeah, I gotta beat by beat. And I think now that we're running maybe a little under an hour and a half, so we do have some room to slow down some of the more sentimental dialogue moments. For sure.
But also, because I'm being hard on you, is because I really like this piece. I thought it had a lot of potential to it.
Well, thank you. That's the most important thing right now. This is Samantha Lawrence, by the way. She is Lady Death.
Okay. Yeah. Because also, it was worthy of a theatrical piece. You know how a lot of musicals, they're basically for kids.
Right.
Because, happy ending, and you know very well what they're going to talk about. It can't be too complex. This was it talked a lot about death, talked a lot about religion, talked about purpose in life and all that. Right. Very philosophical questions. And again, also a bit of Hamlet in there also.
Right, yeah.
What's the meaning of life? Why shouldn't I just end it and all that? So I really liked it. And also I loved the music. The music was actually very, very good. It was
Thank you very much. I appreciate that's why the one thing that we had always stressed was making the music really digestible, because when people have a melody that they remember, they're subconsciously knowing the lyrics, and then they look at the song as something that whenever you fall in love with a song, it's a part of you. It's something that you now feel ownership of because you love it. So if they can own a song like Diallo, where she really goes back and relives her past and experiences that, then they can feel no longer alone if they have those sad, isolating thoughts for it.
In fact, I honestly think if you had a really big name star who would really sing this piece, you can actually bring this to some really big places.
That means the world to us, and that is our goal. Our dream is to keep moving it, especially because it's just us. We can do it in a lot of different locations, and because of the tech elements, it allows for new directors to come in and really visualize it their own way, which is why we sort of wanted to write a theater piece for people to always be creative with it.
And one last comment about your sound man, because I did sound for like 14 years, and I know how hard it is to be a sound man for track music and for a musical and for something like this where it's uncontrolled and all that. He did actually a very good job.
Oh, great! Yeah. Julia Lisa, she is our director and also running sound and tech. So yeah, she's one of a kind. She knows a lot of things. So hats off to her for sure. Because they're hard. Yeah, they're hard songs with how many lyrics we're singing.
Plus, I loved your choice of venue too, because this almost looks like a church.
Yeah, right?
Which is perfect for the type of somber type of environment, type of reflectiveness of it.
Right. No, that's a really good point. It does have that energy to it. It's a really warm venue, so it makes us being able to talk about this a little easier, because it does have some energy here that's been passed, and some preaching elements to the energy of the show as well kind of work really well with the space. You're absolutely right.
So my final review is basically, it needs a little work, you need a little polish, but basically it was actually very, very good.
Wow, thank you very much. That means the world to us. We really appreciate that.
All right, thank you once again for being on the show.
Sweet, thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm here with
Samantha Lawrence. I'm a transplant. I'm from Maryland. I've been in LA 2 years and just been in it all. Music, opera, just all of it.
Great. And which character did you play?
I'm playing Lady Death and also Diallo. Lady Death was definitely not what I expected. I really expected it to be a lot more grim than it actually was, and there's a little bit of a lightness to her because she's trying to, or because of her alter ego Diallo, who's trying to convince Link, there's so much value in life that you're not seeing, and after I read the script, I was very pleasantly surprised and even more excited to breathe life into Lady Death, as it were.
If my viewers come by and see this piece, what should they expect to see?
My gosh, there's so much. They can see a little bit. I think the thing that struck me the most was how deep it reaches you. For me, just last night when we were rehearsing, one of his monologues got to me in a way that it hadn't before, and I've been rehearsing this piece for weeks, and it's just amazing because every time you read it or the things that you think about, they think, they get to you in a different way. So they might take something once a certain way, and then they might rethink about it, and it'll make them think philosophically in a completely different way. And I think that's very, very amazing because it opens your mind to so many different possibilities and thoughts.
When I thought of it, first of all, it is a piece about suicide, which I'm not doing a spoiler because it was the very first scene. But basically, again, so it's not really a depressing piece.
Right.
It's not really a piece where someone's going through sobriety or someone's going through or tragedy or something like that. It's more of a piece of reflective philosophy. For the piece that it was, I thought you did a very good job because, again, first of all, you did fantastic singing. I loved your singing.
Thank you very much.
Also, acting-wise, actually, again, playing a character like this, obviously you don't know anyone like this. This person doesn't exist, so you can't really just ask them what it is or Google, what is death and all that. I guess there's some comic book characters you look in regard to this, but I do feel that you actually you did put a personality to this piece.
It was because, like you said, there's no character. I can't look it up, and the concept isn't quite the same. So I've in fact to study, listened to a lot of the Inception soundtrack, the musical score, and watched a lot of interesting television shows. So a lot of American Horror Story to just kind of like keep me down, but they have the light moments in there and just putting together the character. You really, something new like this, you have to go through and almost write out, okay, this person has this and this element is this and all that stuff, because there's so many different pieces that go together.
Well, I love the way you played it because, again, you're also very feminine. Your character had to be like that. You're also very mysterious and all that. And again, I really felt for your character. Towards the end, it was like, you yourself seemed a little lost also.
A little bit, yeah, because I didn't, as Death, you go in, you take somebody and then you leave. But Link's not scared, and he makes me think in a way that nobody else ever has before. So it's making me rethink what my purpose is and how I go about my daily life in Death,
Once again, I really enjoyed the performance tonight. Your performance I really enjoyed also.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you so much for the time.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine. And I'm here with
Julia Lisa, the director of My Date with Death.
So, question, why did you decide to do this piece?
So this piece is really to help us get through this time of questions that we all struggle with. It's the most relatable topic of life or death and why we choose to keep going every day. So it's something not political, something that we all struggle with every day.
Actually, I really like this piece. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Jesus Christ Superstar. because there was some jazz, some kind of rock to it. It talked philosophy about death and about afterlife and about right and wrong and all that. But it was also a cross between The Matrix, too, because it's very scientific, very philosophical, and also very, very nerdy a bit.
Yes, I like to call it a Dr. Whovian point of view of this sci-fi world, really discussing the philosophies of death and life and why we keep going and why we as people are all connected and how we can move forward and sort of deal with this life together.
Yeah, I also like the way you did the sound, because I did sound for like 14 years. And rolling track to a live musical to an atmosphere like this, in which I'm not sure if you're familiar with it or not, it's not an easy job.
No, it definitely isn't. So yes, I'm the director. I also run the tech for the show, just because I don't trust anyone else to be able to get the timing to know the piece as well as I do, to get all the nuances of sound and their mics and knowing their particular voices so well, to know where it's hot and cold and what I need to do for them. And yeah, I mean, the tracks were made by Daniel Sugimoto, who wrote the music, and he does his own arrangements and everything, which I truly don't know how he does that. It's unbelievable.
If my viewers decide to come out and see this piece, what should they expect to see?
So if you come out to see My Date with Death, expect to go on this whirlwind adventure between death and life, and this beautiful theatrical lit piece that will sort of astound and asking you to be or not to be.
As a director, I believe like 80% of your job is actually casting. I mean, what do you look for in casting in this piece?
Well, for casting in this piece, it was pretty much vocal talent. I mean, these songs are insanely hard and beautiful to listen to, but vocally you have to be there. Both of them are opera-trained vocalists. Daniel Sugimoto did write the musical, so casting for him was pretty easy. But we did have casting to see if we could find somebody else to play that role, because as a person creating the piece, I'm sure it's easier to sit back and sort of watch it happen rather than having to put all of the pressure on yourself.
I love the cast. I thought they were perfect for the pieces. And again, I guess you could have gotten a bigger name. It might have been a little better, but it wouldn't have been that much better. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, ideally, like, when we move to Broadway, it would be like Beyonce and maybe, like, I don't even know, someone like Beyonce. No, but honestly, Samantha Lawrence is unbelievable, and I think that the two of them could do it on Broadway. One
criticism I do have to give, because actually I usually don't do this unless I really feel that basically it'll add to the plays. I thought Daniel was actually speaking a little too quickly at the very beginning. You know, I'm not sure if it was keeping up with the meter of the song. I'm not sure if it was nervous or not, or basically because I know songwriters themselves are very intellectual, so they go at a very fast speed.
Yes.
So I'm not sure what it was, but I think if you slowed it down a little bit, it would have added a lot to the play.
Yeah, actually, I think a lot of it was nerves, the two of them. You know, once it starts, it's just the two of them on stage, just going for it, and I think the excitement of opening night and everything got them a little speedy, but yes, definitely we were going to work on everyone taking a breath and really making sure that the audience is getting some of these really important moments, because you have to connect with him in that first part. You know, it's him at a bar, you know, talking just like the guy at the end of the bar is talking to you, just experiencing his life and letting you into it.
I don't see a whole lot of new musicals. They're just so hard to do. You know, come up with your own music unless you spend your whole life writing it on that. I thought it was very well done, a little polished, and I think it actually really can play on Broadway.
Wow, thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, and this is a new piece. It's super fresh off the presses. This is sort of our workshop run. This is the first audience we've had. It's gone through a lot of, you know, rewrites through this rehearsal process, which has only been about 2 months. So we are very excited to keep refining and taking it to the next level, but we're excited for this run to have audiences see it and see what they think.
Once again, I really enjoyed myself tonight. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate you being here.
My Date with Death, a musical romance, will be playing at the Miles Memorial Playhouse from November 10th to December 2nd. For more information, go to www.thezootheaterco.com. This is Ashton Marcus, and I'm on location at the Antaeus Theater Company for their presentation of Little Foxes.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine. And I'm here with
Deborah Puett. Well, we just opened The Little Foxes by Lillian Hellman. It's our second opening night. We do two at Antius, and just here enjoying the party after what feels like a pretty vibrant performance.
And which character did you play?
I play Regina Hubbard Giddens. I think Regina is a woman who has had to fight for every single thing that she's ever gotten in her whole life, and it has pushed her to extreme measures, but I understand everything that she does.
I loved your character. You were fantastic. I mean, as a woman lead, you basically were strong, you were vulnerable, but at the same time you were dark, you were an anti-hero, so you were just wonderful.
Thank you. She's on the bucket list for a lot of actors because she is so delicious, and I'm just really grateful that I got to play her.
If my viewers decide to come by and see this piece, what should they expect to see?
When they come here to see this, so it's a 3-act play. It's old school. We have 2 intermissions, but it blazes by, and so they should just be ready to hold on to their seats.
Yeah, I love the performance. First of all, I've loved all your performances that I've ever seen from you, and because you always go into these complex characters who deals with racism, who deals with the South a lot of times. So I've just always loved that about you, about your acting.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thanks for coming out to be with us on opening night.
Once again, love your performance. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm here with.
And I'm John DeMita. I play Horace in this production of The Little Foxes, which is a great American play from the early 20th century by Lillian Hellman, one of our greatest playwrights. Horace, I don't think of him this way, but I've been told by people who have read the play and who have seen it that he's the moral center of the play. He sort of kind of holds the center ground while people with greed and with self-interest and with other petty concerns are around him. He sort of holds the center.
I agree. It's kind of like the guy you root for, but also it's in a sense, it's like you see the man, how should I put it, kind of fail. It's like the good guy loses at the end. He kind of loses. The evil people succeed, and that's kind of a reflection of the world.
It really is. I mean, that's fascinating that you say it that way. I think that's true, and I think that's why the play, without being too direct a connection, is actually very relevant today. There is a sense of, I think there's concern that people who have self-interest and monetary interest and that kind of concern are going to ultimately win out. Although if you really look at the end of the play, you do see that Regina, who you think would be the winner, kind of loses as well. So it isn't entirely black and white.
Actually, again, this is written such a long time ago. Are you saying nothing has changed since then? Anything about racism? Anything about morality? Has anything changed?
Well, I think a lot has changed since then. But I think Hellman deals with issues of race and with the political situation in her time compared to today in ways that, while they may have conformed, we changed some of the language of the play to be more acceptable and more palatable for a contemporary audience. But that was really the only alteration we had to make. I think that the humanity of this play and the characters that display that generosity and that empathy towards all people really shines through. I think she really did focus on that.
That's very interesting. So this piece is not only classical, it's not only well written, it's almost prophetic that it says, if you don't do anything about things, this is the way it's going to turn out, and no one has done anything.
It feels it's a little sad that you feel like you recognize these people from so long ago. And Hellman was writing of people from 36 years before she wrote the play. So yeah, maybe we're in a cycle.
Well, I love the performance. I love your performance too. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having us, and thanks for coming.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm here with
Mike McShane. I'm Ben, the oldest son, and he guides everybody around. Basically, he's a control freak, a very charming control freak. My take on Ben is the one thing he's a very careful man. Unlike his brother and his brother's son, who are careless people. The one thing you say about Ben, he weighs himself very carefully before he speaks. That's a trait that horrid people can have really good traits, and that's a good trait in a horrid man.
I was once listening to an article on NPR, and they told us it was about this guy who
who studied rich people, just what they were like, extremely rich people, and he said that they're very rude to other people. They treat other people like they're insects. Like, if you ask them a question, they'll say it's because you're so incredibly stupid that's why you're not rich. You know what I mean?
Well, the father of the family, it's in another play called Another Part of the Forest. The father, Marcus, is very much like that. He's got a reason and a rationale that why everybody else's failure is nobody's fault but their own. And it's a tack to take. Some people take. You don't ever have to stop and think about what you're doing. Everybody else is a loser, and you're Donald Trump.
Little Foxes will be playing at the Antaeus Theater Company from October 18th to December 10th. For more information, go to www.antaeus.org.